My crypto journey began back in 2013. So I read one white paper on the wrap sort of followed crypto for a long time. Roles with a few companies, a eToro brokerage in the US. I was for Coinbase Philippines, and now with Coinbase. Say that being at Coinbase is very exciting. Really fun to be with very talented colleagues who are very passionate about crypto. We're all very mission aligned on increasing economic freedom around the world and really just increasing the crypto economy. And within that, honestly, I'd say that Southeast is like one of the most sort of advanced regions when it comes to crypto. And within that specific, I'd say Vietnam really is sort of the heart of crypto, especially for developers. For things like kind of Web3 gaming, all of the best developers and all the best studios that I've talked to, they're all coming out of Vietnam, and it's just really exciting. Like the kinds of imagination that folks have, the kinds of like games that people are building that are like fusing kind of Web2, Web3 together, or just Web3 native stuff. So it's for that reason that I'm very excited about this session today, because I'm sure that a lot of folks in this audience are very talented developers, and after Yuyang and others kind of take us through the session, we hope that you get a much better sense of what Base is all about. It's probably the most exciting product launch in Coinbase's kind of history, at least like in the last 5 years. We've kind of gone back and forth on whether we should kind of build our own chain, but here we are, and so we're very excited to be on this journey. So without any further ado, I will now turn it over either back to you, Nicole, or to Yuyang to take us through the rest of it.
Thank you, Hassan, the country director of Coinbase in Singapore. And yeah, thanks, Nico, as well, and welcome, and thanks everybody to spending your time to join our talk show today about Build on Base, the why and the how. Firstly, let me introduce myself, and then I will let the show to begin with Yuyang and Dinh. So I am Phúc, the co-founder of SotaTek. We are the leading Web3 development company in the region, which houses over 1,000 employees, and most of us are crypto native as well. So we are the development partner with many blockchain foundation and projects all over the world. We also develop and incubate many projects coming out from Vietnam too. All right, so now please welcome two guests from Coinbase, Yuyang and Dinh Nguyen, the two senior software engineers at Coinbase. Yeah, Yuyang.
Thank you, Phúc. Super excited to be here with you and with everyone here on the call. I'm Yuyang. I'm a software engineer at Coinbase. Dinh and I work closely together on a team that's focused on scaling Coinbase's product internationally, both the product and the platform. And we are very strong advocates for Web3 innovations and and bringing more and more use case onto Web3. And prior to Coinbase, I led engineering teams in Dropbox in San Francisco Bay Area, worked a lot on low-level infrastructure work around petabyte scale databases, scalability and optimization, as well as core products used by hundreds of millions of people. Again, super excited to share about Base today with all of you. Dinh, over to you.
Oh, thank you, Yuyang. So I'm Nguyen. I'm a senior software engineer at Coinbase Singapore. I'm focused on building products and platform internationally at Coinbase, and I'm advocating Web3 for financial systems. So before joining Coinbase, I was a lead software engineer at Indonesian Go-To Financial. I work on liquidity team who manage the GoPay money flows for 38 million active users. And yeah, super excited to be here, sharing with you in general how we build Base and how you can build on top of Base.
All right, yeah, thank you, Yuyang and Dinh. So let me guide you through all the content that we will be discussing today. So on this talk, we will be going through 3 segments, including the why, Coinbase on-chain vision and Base overview, the how, the tech stack, and also a demo. And the last one will be Q&A. The stream will tentatively last for about 1 hour, so make sure you stick with us until the very end. If you have any question for our speaker here, please type in the chat box so we can collect and answer at the Q&A segment. And we will pick at least 5 questions from the audience to answer and reward them with 15 USDC. Yeah. All right, I'm very excited to see how Base gonna conquer the world. And now let's begin the first segment from Yuyang.
Thank you, Folk. Yeah, the hope is to conquer the world.
Yeah, the castle. Right?
Thank you again. Yeah, so I will be walking through the why portion, starting with Coinbase's on-chain vision and why we built Base, and I'll hand it over later to Ding to talk about how, and he has a very exciting demo prepared about building on top of Base as well. So yeah, thank you. Ding, next slide, please. So yeah, starting with our on-chain vision. So again, I know all of you are here because you are heavily invested in Web3, like you're a developer or a part of the Web3 ecosystem. Yeah, but we just want to highlight how we envision the future of on-chain to be and how, what's the impact of that in the human society. So to begin with, I think everyone here probably already knows about Coinbase, one of the largest and most trusted and secure crypto companies in the world, founded in 2012. And actually, just a quick fun like survey to help all of us put into perspective how much crypto has grown over the last 10 years. Any guesses of like, what was the price of a Bitcoin back in 2012 when Coinbase was founded? $1,000, 100, 20 was close enough. Yeah. So actually, in 2012, Bitcoin was about $10, and yeah, just I think it's something that we all should be super proud of how much the crypto economy has already grown and changed the world, and we foresee a lot of that coming. And yeah, I think we're also very proud as part of Coinbase. I think we played a huge part in the growth of this. Currently having more than 8.5 million MTUs and a lot more total user base, as well as 80 billion total dollar value locked on the platform. So yeah, so Coinbase is not just about exchange. We're always at the forefront of Web3 innovations and advancing crypto economy. And the core mission is to increase economic freedom in the world. Very ambitious goal. But we're getting there step by step, and Base is one of the big things that we heavily believe in that can get us there. So next slide, please. So yeah, again, I think all of you heavily believe in Web3, but we really want to put this statement out there. On-chain is going to be the next online. So just like how online completely reshaped the human society in the last 20 years, we really believe on-chain is going to do the same. So I don't know if most of you maybe are here the pre-2000 world where information, both information and money were centralized, right? And in order to access information, to publish information, you had to go through central publishers. And just imagine how much the world has thrived after online brought decentralization to information. And we think the same transformation in human society is going to happen when money, financial system, enjoys the same decentralization that information has enjoyed over the last 20 years. Yeah, so next slide, please. Yeah, so yeah, and then a little bit more illustration of the comparison of online and on-chain. So if anyone still remembers pre-20, like having to physically go to bank for any basic banking need, development speed is snail speed. Like you have to physically buy a CD, or if anyone still remembers floppy disks, right, to get software updates, right? And came online and development speed 10x. Anyone can build and distribute software. And with help of mobile banking, financial space a lot more vibrant. However, I don't know if anyone knows the number. There are still 1.7 billion unbanked populations in the world. And this is where we really think on-chain, having decentralized and open access to the financial system is going to bring a ton of thriving activity in the world. And in addition, with the strong principles around open source, decentralization, and composability in Web3, we think development speed is going to 10x even more compared to the online world. So yeah, that is the vision, and hope you're all sold on that vision. So now that if we're convinced that on-chain will be the next online, I think the next question to ask that we spend a lot of time thinking about is, what does the future of on-chain look like? Will there be a lot of different L1s competing with each other? Maybe there's one L1 that's going to dominate. How about L2? Will there be a lot of L2s competing with each other, or maybe there will be a one winning L2 that is there? So based on the overwhelming evidences that we have seen, I think we are seeing a strong pattern. So we're seeing EVM and Ethereum emerging as the primary developer platform and the primary L1. I think we're seeing 10x more activities that are happening in these ecosystem. And in terms of L2s, this is very interesting. We believe that instead of one single layer 2 dominating the space, actually we see a lot of different L2s coexisting and working together to better scale the crypto economy, and they will all become interoperable and serve as hubs for lots of busy activities. So with that vision in mind, that is how we decided to build Base as an Ethereum L2, and which Ding will dive a lot more deeper into later in the talk. And of course, Base is not the first innovation Coinbase has done in the crypto and Web3 space. From the very initial and now seemingly very easy standard thing of bringing fiat into crypto on-ramp to the working together with Circle to issue USDC, allow many people to access trusted stable coins. We have a best-in-market self-custody wallet, Coinbase Wallet. And you may see a lot of recent focus around wrapped Ethereum Dapps wallet. Both of these initiatives are focused on bringing more and more people into the world of Web3, especially for crypto beginners, allowing all of them to enjoy the benefit of Web3 with extremely low friction. And Base is yet another, not yet another, but one of the most exciting ones that has come out. And I think we believe there are a lot more innovations to come in the next month, years. So I think with that context set, I think the topic of why we built Base should be pretty natural from this point. So next slide, please. So again, as I mentioned earlier, Base is an Ethereum L2, not a siloed L1, but it intends to be part of a thriving ecosystem of Ethereum, and it's built to scale the crypto economy. We're not issuing any new tokens, so ETH is the native asset for gas. Really, the reason why we built Base is there are a few of the reasons. The first one is because it's being powered by Coinbase. It has a super wide reach of the monthly transacting users and the total values blocked on chain that Dapps launched on Base would have a strong access to, and we think Base would serve as a strong foundation to bring a lot of these customers and the value on chain. And secondly, of course, with 10 years of experience building extremely secure both protocol layer and product layer infrastructure, Coinbase is very well positioned to build one of the most secure and trusted blockchains in the world. And then thirdly, we heavily invested in bringing down the cost of transaction on this blockchain. So I don't know if anyone heard about the EIP 4844 prototype sharding. So this is a new EIP proposal on the Ethereum protocol to drastically reduce the L2 rollup cost. In fact, with that, we're targeting to have less than 1 cent per transaction fee on Base, which is a huge deal. We actually have a different tech talk to dive much deeper into that, but we have too little time today to do that. But yeah, so Coinbase heavily invested in this space to bring down the low cost, and we know this is extremely important for developers and users as well. And of course, with strong principles around open sourcing, decentralization, and open access, open ecosystem, we are really hoping to build an open and system as opposed to something that is closed off. Yeah, so these are the few reasons that we really believe in Base. And of course, a lot of time we announce Base and we get this very interesting question, right? Like, why did you launch Base? Is this here to compete with the other existing established L2s, right? And how are you going to compete with them? For that, I would like to show you a list of numbers. Anyone familiar with the total active on-chain users? Yeah, that is performing transactions frequently. Is that 2 billion? Not sure. I'll give out the answer. So that is actually estimated to around 2 to 3 million. So we can only count the total number of wallet addresses, but the total number of users are estimated. And then if anyone still remembers from my first slide, that total number of MTU is monthly transacting users at Coinbase, that is already sitting at 8.5 million. And then to broaden our perspective even further, if anyone remembers the total population in the world, anyone ideas? Yeah, 8 billion. Yeah, I think that's spot on. I think last time I checked, it was a 7.8 billion, maybe 0.2 billion kids just got born. Yeah, so I hope this set of tell a very clear story of why we built Base. I think if you saw the title here, we see Base as a strong bridge into Web3. Our goal is to enable mass adoption into Web3 instead of, taking a piece of pie. Like, the goal is to actually enable the entire population to begin to get on-chain. Okay, so now another natural follow-up to this question then is, well, if on-chain or Web3 is so good, why is there only so little people using Web3 right now? And a lot of that we attribute to a very, very big high barrier of entry. I hope many of you probably already tried performing the transaction on L2s before. Now try to put your mind as a crypto beginner and try to walk through this experience with me and think about how confusing and scary this whole experience and frustrating this current experience is. So let's say I'm Alex. My friend told me about this amazing Dapps, maybe one of the cool games or DeFi apps that you guys built. And I really want to try it too, right? So how do I get started? First, I just set up a self-custody wallet. Many people get scared off by this 12-word password management. And once you get past that, you have to spend maybe a few hours figuring out how to buy some crypto. After that, you have to figure out how to get to a Dapps, and then how do you connect your wallet to your Dapps. Okay, maybe after 3 or 4 hours of frustration, you would notice you're finally getting to the stage where I'm ready to perform a transaction. And at this point, because the default is Ethereum, you're going to get, let's say for a $10 transaction that I'm trying to do here, you're getting $15 transaction fee. So this is unacceptable. And Alex is not even ready to give up at this point. So she talks to Belle, and Belle's like, okay, you can use an L2. Like, and then instead of solving Alex's problem, she's actually exposed to a whole new world of confusion. So what is an L2? Which L2 should I choose? How do I switch my network from L1 to L2? Someone said I need to bridge some assets from L1 to L2. What does that mean? Why do I need to do that? How do I do that? And then even after that, when you're finally ready to make a transaction, you're missing the native gas token for the L2. At this point, it would be really respectful that this user has not given up yet. Extremely confused, extremely frustrated. And then looking at Base, right? Base, we really imagine Base to select all of these really confusing and scary experiences and replace them with a few really simple steps, right? So the user should just worry about, want to select a feature, the Dapps, the amazing game that you built, and then they want to confirm the transaction, and they should enjoy a simple and low fee default, and then it should be done, right? So we're really talking about, one-click experiences, extremely low barrier for people to get started with Web3. Sorry, one click here. Yeah, okay. Yeah, and having extremely sort of sensible defaults that has low fees, right? To the point, you imagine that people are not really thinking about on-chain anymore, just like no one's thinking about I'm online, I'm offline, right? So yeah, it is the underlying technology that is going to power the experiences, the products that you guys are all building. So this is really how we imagine Base to be the bridge to Web3 for the entire population. So I think that is the end of the why portion. I'll just do a quick summary that we talked about. We really believe on-chain being the next online, and we believe Base can be that bridge to get people into Web3 with a strong, wide reach for Coinbase customers, low barrier of entry, low cost, and strong principles around secure, open, and decentralization. Thank you, and I'll pass it over to Ding now for the exciting how portion of this workshop. Sorry, Ding, I think you're mute.
Okay, thank you, Yuyang. So I will begin with an overview of how we build Base, and then I'll talk about how we can build on top of Base with a very simple demo. So we do not build Base from scratch. Base built on top of OP Stack in collaboration with Optimism. Coinbase is joining as the second core contributor on the OP Stack. Doing so, support developing an open source stack that will generate greater value for the entire ecosystem over time. We see a lot of similar vision around L2 with Optimism teams, especially around open sourcing, decentralization, and interoperability. So it is a very natural partnership. And working with Optimism team will let us get the best of decentralization while taking advantage of our distribution and customer-facing brand. Base is permissionless and decentralized. Base is fundamentally permissionless. This means that everyone can join the network, do a transaction, operate a node, etc., etc. And while Base is incubated within Coinbase, we plan to decentralize the platform in over years ahead to embrace the core values of Ethereum. So this is our plan to decentralize. The first is sequential network. In beginning, there will be one with its Coinbase, but over time we expect to decentralize to many with the sequential network. And the second is protocol upgrade. To start, Coinbase will manage and control the protocol using our best-in-class security. But then we will transition to a security council and then some sort of on-chain governance. The next is validator. So for proof tests are needed so that everyone can verify the L2 to ensure that it's behaving correctly, especially when you withdraw to L1. So we expect the permissionless validator to be launched in the late 2023 and decentralize the participation over time. Okay, this is our release timeline. We have pretty busy 2023 with Base. We released the Golden testnet back on February, and we expect to have the mainnet beta in Q2, on which the high priority P0 and P1 are alive with the support from Coinbase. And also on Q2, we released the mainnet At that stage, we support Base across on Coinbase product and ecosystems. After that, we work to decentralize the operation base and have many improvements in the network, like reducing the gas fee, which is what Yuyang mentioned before with EIP for A44. So now you should generally know how and why we build Base. Now turn into yourself. I'm trying to convince you. And these are the 4 whys we think you should develop on Base as a developer. The first is L2 Ethereum. If your contract is working with Ethereum, it will work with Base. Okay. And the second is low gas fees. You pay less, your customer pay less. So our target with EIP for A44 Base to be 100 times cheaper than L1. And it fast also. The next is Plus. Base stack is open source. This means that you can download it, you can read it, and you can test it yourself. And Base to be decentralized. This is on our plan. And last but not least is Coinbase has many customers, and we can help you to reach them. I hope that now you're a little bit convinced and want to see how easy it is to deploy a contract on Base. Okay, but at first, as you know, that we do not have any plan to release new token. ETH is used to pay for the gas fee on Base, so you will need some ETH to start. For testing purpose, we have a little utility on Bridge. With the Bridge, you can move your asset, your ETH, from Ethereum L1 into Base, and vice versa. So access bridge.base.org, and you can move from L1 to L2 and vice versa. For instance, oh, by the way, I will connect it with a wallet, and I already connected with Coinbase wallet here. For instance, I want to move 0.01 ETH so that I can deploy my contract later, and I just need to confirm it. Okay, and you can view it on Etherscan, and I will get my ETH on the Base testnet. And this bridge is not only work with testnet, but it will work with Metac, and not only ETH, but some allowless ERC20 tokens like USDC. This is on our plan. And we also provide the Coinbase faucet. It's very convenient to get a testnet-based Golly ETH with our Coinbase faucet. Access the Coinbase.com faucet, and you can request a lot of free assets from many testnet, not only Base but other network. Okay, so there's more convenient ways. A more convenient ways is to request it via Coinbase wallet. So I contribute to development of Coinbase wallet. So I strongly recommend you try it and use it. I'm a little bit biased here. So on the setting, you can go to developer setting, and there is a tab and faucet, and I will choose the Base Golly, and I can request 0.1 Base Golly ETH in every 24 hours. Okay, and that's all. I have 0.1 ETH on my testnet that can be used for testing. Okay, and now I have some if, and I want to deploy the smart contract for the purpose of demoing and inspiring by the recent news that an airline in Argentina is going to sell their ticket as NFT, and thus creating a contract to mint and to send an NFT, which is ERC1155. For instance, this contract creates 4 different ticket classes, and the ticket is saved into IPFS, and when constructing the smart contract, I will mint several NFT for different type of ticket classes, and there is a send function which is used to send the NFT ticket to our customer. We will use it later. And by the way, I'm using HotHot to deploy my contract, and I already deployed it on Wallet testnet. And what I will do here, is that I will try to deploy it into base testnet, right? And then I will explore it in our base browser. Then I'm going to verify it because I want to do some transaction in the base browser. So the first thing is deploy into base testnet. Base is EVM compatible. So if your Solidify is working with Ethereum, it will work with Base. So in order to deploy it into Base, I will define a network for Base testnet. I will call it Base test. And please let me know if the font is small. And on that, I need to define the URL, which is needed for to communicate with the server. And I need to change ID. The information could be get from the our documentation base. This is the RPC endpoint. I will copy and paste here. I'm not get used to this mouse. Okay, and chain ID here. Copy and paste it here. So what I provide the information so that the HotHot can deploy my contract. And for convenience, I will create a socket here. I call it not only deploy, but base test deploy, and input is my current created network on base test. Okay, now back to this one, and I'm going to deploy this. I will go to my terminal and run a deploy command. Okay, so what I'm expecting is it will be compiled and deploy. The deployment should be fast. Okay, here. So my contract is deployed to this address. I will go to base scan and search for this. Just recent deploying. It's 16 seconds ago. And I'm going to look at the contract. It said that, hey, this is ERC1155 tokens. There's 4 different type of tickets I just created. And yeah, look at the contract. It's not verified yet, so I'm going to verify it, and so that I can make the transaction within this base Gantt. And verifying is pretty easy. For now, the Goli base Gantt do not require a token to verify it. So I'm calling it not Goli verified, but calling it base test verified, and the network again is base test. Okay. I'm going to verify my contract. Okay. I only forgot to provide the address of the contract I just created. And waiting for the verification. Successful. Now I refresh this, and here the blue mark. Right? The blue mark saying that, hey, my contract is verified, and I can interact with this contract in my base Gantt. Like if I write a contract, for instance, there is an API I showed you before to send NFT to a client. But in order to do that, I will going to connect with my wallet. So I use the Coinbase wallet and go here. For instance, I will send it to my different wallet, and I will need to input the ticket type. So the ticket type is defined in my smart contract. Like economy is 1, like first class is 4. I'm going to go with the first class. So I put it 4 here, and I write it. Okay, and I confirm. And that's all. On my address. I just got an ERC 1155 token just 7 seconds ago. Okay, so it's very fast. If your contract is working with Ethereum L1, it will work with Base, and the deployment is so simple. You can use the existing your deploying tool like Hot, and you can also use Remix if you want. We have the instruction on the address, this address that you can take a look. And in case that you're working on the backend and you want to interact with Base, and if you want to interact with Base, those are the popular node providers that support Base network out of the box. So some example are Block Diamond, Infura, and QuickNode. And even you can build up your own node. We on our GitHub, we have instruction, and you can use Docker to build up your own node. But that requires more setting and more patience because it takes time to sync the information from our network. Okay, Shrikant, why you should develop on Base, and with all of that, we can wait to see what you will build on top of Base, and we move to Q&A session.
All right, thanks Yuyang and Dinh. I like how you guys are redefining the user journey to onboard a new crypto users. I think it's very easy and straightforward. Also, from what I have seen, right, in the future, there will be like Ethereum will be major in layer 1, but then with a lot of layer 2 interacting with each other, and Base will be the very first one to make that future come true. I do believe that you guys will conquer the world before the cats do. So from what Dinh has said, EVM is still the major developer platform for building dApps, and Base seems to be a fully equivalent with EVM. And it's very easy to start coding and deploying to Base. You can deploy like an NFT smart contract like you share to Base the same way with Ethereum. Every configuration, tools like HatHat and Remix, they're the same. It's just there's almost no learning curves for those who had familiar with coding dApps in EVM before. It's only faster and cheaper. All right, so I think let's move on to the third segment about the Q&A. So you guys, please, if you have any question, make sure you send it in the chat box so we can collect them. Probably in the meantime, for the people to type their question, I also have like 1 or 2 questions for you guys. So the first one, so I am also a builder myself, and we are actually building a hybrid exchange with off-chain order book and on-chain settlement. So we're considering different roll-up solution for layer 2, and Base seems to be a very promising solution. So could you tell me like how Base is going to help us in terms of increasing the TPS and also optimizing the gas fee? And I also heard about the gas lead transaction in the Base website. So how does that work?
Yeah, you want to answer this question?
Sure. Yeah, super excited to hear about your company, your project. Super exciting. I have my comment is actually from one of our internal hackathons. Definitely not an official Coinbase project, but just us playing around. We were actually exploring how we might build an exchange on top of Base, and for that we actually leveraged a similar infrastructure and built an L3 on top of the L2. I think with that setup, we were able to bring down the like per block time down to single-digit milliseconds, and then process a ton of orders during that process. So I don't know if, but also curious to hear if that's something that your team is setting up.
Yeah, that's exactly. So are they like be in the combination with the 4844 proposal in the Ethereum as well?
Yeah, so 4844 unfortunately didn't make it into the Chapella upgrade this last 2 weeks, but it will be included in the next Ethereum upgrade. And with that, we're hoping to bring down the transaction cost by 10x. Not confirmed yet, but 10x to 100x is what we're aiming for.
All right. Yeah, thank you. Very promising. Let me pick one question from the chat box now. This new one is, what steps is Coinbase taking to ensure that Base is decentralized and open, despite being incubated within a centralized company?
Right. We talk about this, and we have planned to decentralize our operation. Like we move from single sequencer to sequencer network, and also the permissionless validator. So we have a lot of effort is on our roadmap to make so that the operation of the network is decentralized.
I see.
Yeah, I'll chime in now. Yeah, we're definitely a huge believer in decentralization, and we're committed to that. The reason why we are starting off as incubated in Coinbase is, I think, as mentioned in the chat, there are a lot of security and like MEV considerations, for example, that really take time to get the decentralization right, which is why we are slowly but surely making progress over there.
Got it. Yep. All right. I hope that answers the question from the audience. And I'm curious. Because you guys are sharing the same technical stack with OP Bedrock, right? So I think one of the issues, maybe not the issue, but the current OP approach is the finalization would take up to 7 days to complete, right? So will base have the same full proof system with OP, which is canon or different? And in the future, would you consider to change the proof system to something like validity proof like ZKP?
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for the question. Very interesting question. So yes, we share the same code with OP. So we're using the same validation nowadays. So which means that move from L2 to L1, we have 7 days challenging period. There's no promising, but we believe that we can get it out to 1 day in coming years. And second part of the question is that is there any plan to move to zero knowledge? The OP stuff is very modular, as means that we can move in and move out the validator. But in short term, that we will stick with what we are choosing. But never say never. Probably in the future, we may use the 0K knowledge for our validation. And yeah, we see with the development of the technology and the virtue of the implementation.
I think if I can just add on to that as well. So I do think that it's a very interesting question about like the challenge period. I think to some extent, if you're going to go back on the sort of the optimism docs, like 7 days was sort of picked as like a good enough target. It wasn't sort of very scientific. And I think as kind of block building and just sort of throughput increases, I do think that's going to actually sort of tuck in, right? Because you won't need as long a challenge period to make sure that there's sort of enough kind of security against the chain. So that's part of work that's going on at the kind of OP foundation level as well as with Coinbase. I think in addition to that, one thing that Coinbase can uniquely offer is actually sort of instant liquidity, especially for kind of Coinbase verified consumers. So that's the kind of like solution that we're also just thinking about in-house, like, for customers that we know are kind of good customers, how can we just give them, liquidity while we're waiting for the challenge period to solve as well? So that's part of the I think the benefits, for being part of the starting out in the Coinbase ecosystem can provide as well. I think on the zero knowledge one, it's another very interesting question. I'd say that, we like both optimistic rollups and kind of, zero knowledge proofs. I think those are both very, very valid. I think today there's just been more kind of progress and more work on optimistic rollups. And that was part of our kind of design decision for why we went with the stack that we did. I do think there's one scenario in the future where like these two actually become even more similar and sort of leverage kind of the best of both together. So it's very exciting to see that the acceleration on the zero knowledge side, but I think it's still a few laps behind from ORUs.
Got it. Yeah, thank you, Hassan. It's very, very interesting to hear that you guys have take into consideration and maybe make it an abstraction level, so you guys can change the proof system to something else in the future. So it's very good. All right. So because in the meet today there will be developers and non-developers, so I will try to pick like both technical question and also like a business question as well. So one of the question is like what are the benefits for game developers or game software companies considering to build on Base? I think because Hassan, you mentioned a lot of game company coming from Vietnam, right? So I hope you guys can answer this question.
Hassan, you want to start this question?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I think for different applications, they're going to have different kinds of requirements for again like performance, level of trustlessness, and so on. I think for depending on kind of the game design, generally what we see is because it's sort of microtransactions, you need high throughput, but the level of decentralization doesn't necessarily need to be as extreme as maybe some kind of like DeFi type applications. So I'd say that generally, where kind of the OP stack is today and kind of Base, even though it's sort of in tested right now, is generally, I'd say, good enough for a lot of, these, especially types of kind of either casual games or sort of the ones that are more deterministic, like card battlers. I think those are probably kind of, basis fit for purpose for that. I think for ones that are really going to start getting, much more higher levels of performance, I think those, to be honest, kind of my general prognostication on this is that the bigger kind of games eventually will probably want to either consider like rollups as a service or sort of some kind of an app chain model anyway. But I haven't seen any kind of game besides, again, kind of, Sky Mavis' stuff, sort of even kind of get close to that level. So for I think where we are today, and again, Base is still in testnet mode. I think for most game developers, we would love the opportunity to have you guys, come test us out and see how it's performing, versus maybe other chains that you might be considering.
All right, thank you. And also, I think for
sorry,
game
and Puk, maybe if I can just also take the question there about like the ecosystem development strategy, and I think that sort of ties in a little bit to this question too. So, one of the big kind of structural benefits is that eventually Dapps developers are going to be able to tap into Coinbase's user base. So for kind of game developers like on this part of the world, one of the ways I like to sort of analogize how something like Base could be useful is you have a lot of kind of players that are in this part of the world, but you have a lot of NFT buyers that are like more out in the West. So if you're trying to tap into like a Western audience, especially for things like kind of gaming assets, and you're trying to get like your marketplace up and running, and you're wanting to get like a blend of kind of Western audience as well as Eastern audience, Base is one of those ways that you can tap into kind of Coinbase, especially Western ecosystem as well. Hope you're on mute.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I think you're right. So when deploying games to Base, I think we can get a couple of benefits, like a very low gas fee compared to other like one when you're deploying the game to, and also we can leverage the user base and the ecosystem that Coinbase has built. Yeah, and let me back to a question, a technical question from the chat. So from Thomas Dow, when the Base network has a problem, is it easy to withdraw assets from Base to layer 1? How does it happen? I think this question is about like deposit and withdraw form and back between layer 1 and layer 2. Yeah.
Yeah, I can take this one. I think to not answer the specific, I think it's pretty well, since like OP stack is very well documented and open source, everyone can look into how exactly that works. I want to mention one of the reasons actually we decided to collaborate with OP is because the stack and the open source sort of repository or the components have been heavily battle tested. So you know how like these, especially bridging contracts between L1 and L2, if you have a bug in there that like easily can lose you like lots of dollars. So the reason why we really like actually collaborated with OP and built Base on top of that is to leverage an existing really battle tested and secure protocol so that like I think like all of the issues has been ironed out and we don't we are not exposing ourselves to like sort of new and maybe not yet mature technology or like rolling some new contracts from fresh and try to test it there. And of course, I think you're also talking about sort of a downtime of blockchain. I think like Coinbase is actually really well positioned to do this because we've been a sort of a company that's sitting on the edge of Web 2 and Web 3. So there's very strong experience as well running infrastructure, like extremely reliable infrastructure using sort of running Web 3, but on Web 2 infrastructure. So like I do expect extremely low downtime if that's what the question is asking about.
All right. Yeah. Thanks, Yuyang. And there's another one like this is kind of general. What do you think will be the disadvantages and weaknesses of Base at layer 1 against other layer 1 like Arbitrum or Optimism or even layer 1? So this question is about like comparing yourself with other layer 1 and layer 2 solution out there.
Yeah, it's a really great question. I think maybe going back to some of the early slides I was mentioning, like a question that people ask, right? Like why, can Base compete with other blockchains, and why?
Yeah.
I think again, the goal there is actually really not to compete. In fact, we envision sort of Base being sort of the first and default blockchain that many crypto beginners would start with. And we actually would happily allow them to use other blockchains based on preference, based on, I think many of these blockchains in different aspects have different pros and cons. And once a user is more well educated, they are able to hop from platforms from one another. But I think the huge vision that we have around Base is that it will be the simplest and easiest thing to get started with to bring mass adoption into Web3.
Got it. Yeah. So here comes another question about Base. How fast or benchmark of Base for other compared to other layer 2s? You have some like TPS or number that you already have?
Sorry. I think we've definitely done internal benchmarking and testing. I think Dinh and I are not well equipped to comment on that. And then I think again reminding everyone that we are only on Base testnet right now, and the mainnet Genesis will be late Q2. So that is when we will actually, so we are doing a lot of internal reliability and scalability testing. But I think around that time, we might be releasing official numbers. But please don't quote me on that. I don't know if we're, if and when we're releasing the numbers. Yeah, so I think I just want to remind everyone that I think Base is really at the phase 0 where we're launching, and we are really excited to bring a lot of people to start testing your app and start to together imagine how the Base ecosystem will look like. And this is an invitation for all of you to help both give us feedback of what features you're most excited about, what improvements you have in mind, and for example, what things are important, having 40K TPS. These are kind of things we're really hoping that we together as a community could contribute together and imagine the future of Base.
All right, thank you, Yuyang. And also, we also have the Google form that we let people to submit a question to. So this is one of the questions that we got, what is Coinbase KYC and KYT solution? This is more about legal, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to share as much that I could. So the KYC, we adopt a lot of different mechanisms for KYC. For instance, when we launch for a specific country like Singapore, we use the SIM pass, which is provided by the government, especially for Singapore. So it's very fast and very accuracy. And different market may have different strategy for KYC. For KYT, yeah, we have the sophisticated training model to detect the transaction based on the information we get on the public chain. So yes, we have the AI module training especially for KYT.
And
yeah, you want to add into it?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, thank you, Ding. And I'll add that KYC is not required for using Base. Base is completely open and permissionless. But I think maybe one thing that you all might be interested in is how to leverage the Coinbase KYC for your app to stay compliant. And for that, there is no official announcements yet. So also, please don't quote me on this. But we are definitely doing internal explorations around on-chain attestation, maybe potentially leveraging an NFT to attest, Coinbase verified customers and allowing other dApps to easily leverage that. Again, I think a lot of discussions are more early phase, and I don't think we're ready for any official announcement yet.
All right. Yep. Here's another question. So how Base are going to work together with the OP team in the future? And when everyone is building their own layer 2 using the OP Bedrock stack, are they gonna independent from each other, or somehow they connected with Base because they are sharing the same stack?
It's very interesting question about Base and optimism. It's true that Base and optimism is built on top of OP stack. But Base and optimism mainnet we both operate as independent L2s for SotaTek, offering a suite of products for the crypto economy, like swaps, lending, etc., etc. But in the medium term, we work to enable developers to seamlessly deploy across something called superchain, which includes Base and optimism mainnet. We expect that in the future there will be existing use case that makes sense uniquely on either optimism mainnet or Base. And we expect that the collaboration between us to ensure a positive, combining a positive sum for each L2 and the super chain in general.
Yeah, I think on this one, I would also just kind of add that it's a lot about perspective and framing. So I think that slide that Yuyang kind of showed in the beginning of what is the current adoption of DeFi and NFTs versus kind of where it could be, even if you look at CeFi activity, it's still multiples ahead to go, right? So a lot of our focus is really just about on growing the pie because we're still so early, and I think it doesn't really help kind of crypto in general to be just a very circular economy. And so that's also why we sort of make this analogy that this is a bridge and not an island, because we're trying to get 1 billion people across, and we think that this is a core infrastructure that is required eventually to make that bridge, so that you abstract away all the complexity as well. So I think that there's functional differences, but again, we're just very, very focused on, hey, look, there's this mass of users that we just got to get across, so everybody can win.
That's answered the question, I think. Let me thanks everybody to stick with us until this moment. There's still more than 100 people to listen to the stream now, even it's quite late in the region. I think we'll just continue with a few questions until we end the stream today. So this is more about community. So you guys have any plan in Vietnam regarding the business development and community growth from Base team?
I'll start, and maybe Hassan can add. I think there is definitely a strong intention to do that. In fact, working with Apac Dao and Phuc, you guys together to host this talk has been one of our reasons we really want to reach out to the community and get feedback, get the ecosystem really excited and thriving. In terms of concrete next steps, I'm not sure if we if there's anything in plan that we could share. I don't know, Hassan, if you have any things that I would love to follow up line on that as well.
Yeah, I think generally right now the plan is to kind of service Southeast Asia out of Singapore. That's sort of our kind of APAC hub as well as Southeast Asia hub. We actually did another event not too long ago with Coin98 and Ancient8 as well. So we have been kind of increasing our frequency of just having more touch points with the Vietnamese community. We're going to be flying out a lot more as well now that some of our travel budgets are also coming back. But that's sort of generally kind of the plan at the moment. So from your side, our request would be as you're sort of hosting events, please keep us in mind. We'd love to kind of continue to stay involved.
Okay, amazing. And even I saw like 0x team is there. He's trying to deposit the assets to base while we are streaming now. So I think it's very engaging session. Let me try to pick one last question before ending the stream today.
Sorry, what was the question?
I'm picking one.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, a lot of questions. So the last one would be how does Space achieve interoperability with other layer 2 and layer 1 ecosystem?
Yeah, I think we touched upon this a little bit earlier. I think Ding talked about this. I'll add one point, which is if anyone's following the Optimism official Twitter, they've been talking a lot about the Optimism collective vision, and part of that is actually a future where a future in the making where every L2 built on top of Optimism would have standard tools and or even by default interoperable with each other. So I think that is actually a great vision that we share with Optimism as well. And I think a lot of the exciting work are happening as we speak.
Yeah, thanks, Yuyang. I think I got the right last question here. So what are the technical challenges in integrating Coinbase products, users, and tools with Base? And how is the team addressing the challenges to ensure that seamless product integration and easy fiat on-ramp for developers? This is a very good question, I think.
I could share one point. I'm actually not super sure we're supposed to share or not. But I think, yeah, we are. Yeah, I think as you Ding mentioned earlier, we're busy making sure many of our products, not just like the standard support, but like building more and more products on top of Base from Coinbase as well as moving some of our core functionality, which was previously built in Web2. Like Coinbase is a very unique company that is a lot of things are built on Web2 technology because we didn't have a suitable foundation, and that serves Web3 use cases. And it is a very interesting technical challenge for us of like that migration that maybe many of you don't experience, of like moving things from the Web2 technology on top of the Web3 stack. Kind of a lot of re-architecting, a lot of rethinking of how things, the finality, how things are structured is very interesting, and how fees are calculated is very interesting. Challenges, I think, which actually makes working at Coinbase really exciting. I think we're sitting on the edge of Web2 to Web3 transition. So I hope that I'm allowed to share all that.
Yeah, I think I would just add to that as well. You know, that there's you know, we're eventually like, you know, our goal is to make sort of Base like a first-class product across, you know, all of our products. And what this is one of the other things about Coinbase is that, you know, we have a retail side, we have an institutional side, we have a developer side, and there's just a lot of products across all these things. So some of the complexity, sometimes I honestly feel like we create for ourselves when we're just trying to like manage this like product suite. But generally, because Base is a horizontal layer, like it's eventually going to be, you know, across the whole thing. And so when you think about like, you know, some of our kind of areas of excellence, like, you know, fiat on-ramps and just easy UX for beginner crypto users, that's sort of how we're eventually going to get users from, you know, on-ramp to on-chain by making Base that first-class product as well. And the second thing is, honestly, we also just rely on a lot of user feedback and developer feedback from, you know, folks like you guys. So that's why I was saying, like, do give us kind of shout outs, like, you know, and call us out on Twitter if there's something that you don't like, if there's something that you do like. I would even say, like, you know, get to know the names of like the individuals who are building these products as well. So the contributor number one for Base is this guy, Jesse Pollock. He's kind of like the spirit animal for Base all over Twitter. You know, feel free to kind of tag him for things like kind of Coinbase Wallet. There's this guy, Sid Coelho. He's on Twitter as well. So, you know, I'm sure a lot of you spend a lot of time on Twitter too. So you'll see these names kind of floating around. And if you want like more immediate kind of feedback cycles, don't be shy about like tagging our people as well. And myself, Yuyang, like Gerald, we're all available for you.
Sure. We do that. All right, guys. So looking like it's the end of our live stream today. Thank you all so much for joining this stream, and we really hope this showcase that has brought you valuable insight into Coinbase and their base products. And a big applause to our three guests today, and Hassan, Yuyang, and Dinh. The last 60 minutes were so informative and so fun with you guys. And let's do another showcase or webinar with us some another time, right? Okay, so guys, make sure you follow our social media on Apac Dao and SotaTek to catch other interesting thing coming soon. All right, we will record this meeting, and we'll try to contact the selected answer to give the rewards. Yeah, that's the end. You guys, you want to say anything last word to goodbye?
Thank you so much, Brooke and Nicole, for hosting us. It was a huge pleasure to talk to all of you. Extremely great questions, and we'd love to keep the momentum going. Feel free to contact us, and to suggest feedback and anything.
Thank you so much, Guy, for a very decentralized crowd here. I think we have Hassan and the team tuning in at a very late time in Singapore, from Singapore. We have Giuliano from Indonesia as well joining us. So, I mean, this is definitely like the start of many late night webinars we're going to have. I'm losing my voice as well, just listening to you guys. But this has been a very informative session, and we look forward to have more, to having more builders on base as well. And please prepare that, a lot of our members are going to spam you a bit later, just to have like, for more questions on, along the way when they start bidding on base. So thank you again for joining us, and especially SotaTek team as well, and Coinbase team, and everyone here at Apac Dao for making this possible. We wish you a very pleasant night. Have a good sleep, and looking forward to seeing more builders from Apac Dao and Coinbase and SotaTek as well. Okay, thank you guys. Have a great night. Bye-bye.
Thank you. See you next time.